The war was in full swing. Across the stars, battles raged between countless factions, some of them ancient, some of them new, but all of them deadly. Among the many races that had come to know the taste of conflict, none had seen a force quite like the humans. The Shalkor, a race of highly intelligent, technologically advanced beings, had been tasked with offering their medical expertise to the human army. For years, they had observed humanity from afar, intrigued by their sheer adaptability and relentless spirit. They had seen humans survive in impossible conditions, thrive where others had failed, and somehow always come back fighting. But none of their medical officers had ever volunteered for this assignment. Humans were different. No other species quite matched their level of brutality and persistence. Yet the Shalkor were determined to understand. They had to. And so, a medical officer from the Shalkor High Council was dispatched, a young medic named Surreal. His mission was simple: to observe, document, and assist the humans in their medical needs during the war. He expected to see carnage, destruction, and chaos, a familiar scene to most races. What he did not expect was the astonishing level of resilience and brutality he would witness. The first time Surreal entered a human battlefield unit's camp, he was astounded. Human soldiers moved with an unyielding focus, each of them completely absorbed in their tasks. They were repairing their weapons, cleaning their armor, and preparing for the next engagement with an intensity that left him speechless. It was not the way the Shalkor, or any other race, operated. Most species followed protocols, took breaks, and approached combat with some form of calculated caution. But not the humans. To them, war was a way of life. They knew no fear, and they took no rest. They were unrelenting. "Medic," a voice bellowed from the rear of the camp. Surreal turned to see a human surgeon striding toward him, his armor dented and stained with the marks of battle. There was a deep gash on the surgeon's leg, yet he showed no sign of pain or discomfort. Surreal blinked in confusion. The Shalkor had advanced medical technology, wound regeneration fields, pain-nullifying injectors, and surgical precision tools. Yet the surgeon appeared unconcerned with the severity of his injury. The surgeon looked down at Surreal, offering a faint smile. "You're the new medic from the, Outer Worlds, right?" Surreal nodded, still unsure of how to react. He had read about the humans' disregard for pain and injury, but seeing it firsthand was something else entirely. "Take care of this," the surgeon grunted, plopping down on a nearby crate, unbothered by the blood seeping from his wound. Surreal began his examination, using a precise Shalkor tool to scan the injury. The surgeon barely flinched as Surreal worked. "How are you not in agony?" Surreal finally asked, unable to suppress his curiosity. The surgeon gave a rough laugh. "Pain's part of the job. Can't afford to stop just because you're bleeding. So long as I can still move, I'm good." Surreal's antennae twitched in disbelief. Such an attitude was incomprehensible to him. No other species would ever think of continuing in battle with a wound that severe. After a few moments of careful treatment, the wound was stabilized. The surgeon didn't even thank him. He simply stood up and rejoined his squad, as if the injury had never occurred. Later that night, Surreal sat in the mess hall reflecting on what he had seen. He was joined by a human lieutenant, a woman named Captain Marlowe. She appeared tired but sharp, eyes scanning the room, constantly on alert. "You're a long way from home," Marlowe remarked, looking over Surreal with an assessing gaze. "I am," Surreal replied. "I must admit, I've seen many species fight, but I've never encountered anything quite like the humans." Marlowe chuckled. "Yeah, we're a bit different. We're not the strongest or the smartest, but we'll fight to the bitter end. We always do." Surreal studied her face for a long moment, trying to decipher the emotion behind her words. "But why? Why risk everything in such reckless ways?" "Because we don't know how to stop," she said, her voice quiet but resolute. "We've been through wars, invasions, survival against the odds. We've learned that if we want to protect what's ours, we have to keep going, no matter the cost." Surreal's mind raced. In the quiet of his meditative thoughts, something about the human spirit began to dawn on him. They were not just soldiers, they were survivors. In a galaxy full of civilizations bent on conquest and power, Humans were different. They'd fought for the survival of their people, for each other, and for their future. As the days passed, Sriel's respect for the human soldiers grew. He had seen them take wounds that would have felled even the hardiest of other species, and they kept fighting. He had watched them laugh and joke in the midst of battle, bolstering each other's spirits with camaraderie and resilience. Even after a brutal battle, when the medical tents were filled with casualties, they never lost their fighting spirit. One particular night, after a devastating assault on an alien stronghold, Sriel found himself tending to a human soldier who had been gravely injured. The soldier had lost an arm and sustained heavy internal damage, but he was still conscious, still breathing barely. Sriel worked frantically, utilizing every advanced medical tool at his disposal. Despite his best efforts, it became clear that the soldier was not going to make it. But as Sriel looked down at the soldier's face, the man smiled weakly, his voice rasping. "Don't worry about me, Doc. I've lived a good life. Just tell them we'll keep fighting." In that moment, Sriel understood. It wasn't about the strength of the body or the sophistication of technology. It was about the human will, the sheer determination to never give up, no matter the odds. As the soldier's heart stopped, Sriel felt a profound sense of respect for these creatures he had once seen as primitive. They were capable of incredible strength, not just in their bodies, but in their spirits. The war continued. The Shell Corps, though technologically superior in many ways, found themselves slowly retreating in the face of the human onslaught. Their forces had underestimated humanity, believing that the human army would falter like so many others before them. But the humans didn't falter. They adapted. They overcame. And as the war drew to its inevitable conclusion, with humanity emerging victorious, Sriel returned to his people forever changed. He had come to study a species, but instead, he had learned what it truly meant to fight for survival. He would never forget the humans, not because of their technology, but because of their hearts. And so the universe had a new story to tell, one of a medic who, once amazed, now stood in awe of humanity's indomitable will.